glad he didn't. I thought he might freak out.
Is it Pierce's birthday today? Or who's in his class? The boys. Is it his birthday today? I think he had a hat on.
Maybe he just started the week. Thanks.
Any exciting things?
Actually, yeah, I was up with all of my family. We did a big 90th birthday for my grandmother. So,
Oh, that's awesome. Where was that?
so I live in Orange County. My sister lives up in the Central Valley, like Visalia, if you know where that is. I did not before she moved there. So,
I randomly had a friend in college that was from Visalia. That's what they do.
okay, yeah. 'Cause otherwise, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, yeah. So the nice thing about being in the middle of nowhere is big old house. So, yeah, we all went up and then did a party there. So it was actually a really special weekend.
That's amazing.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I took Friday off.
Okay.
I have two small children, and it's tough to like travel too far with them. So we a few friends of ours, we went down to Joshua Tree and just kind of hung out the weekend.
Oh, really nice. That's great.
One of my best friends bought during I feel like a lot of people do this during the pandemic, but they bought a property out there to Airbnb.
Yeah.
And so they have a nice big house out there, and yeah, cool.
Very
I've
cool.
never been out there, so it was fun.
How old are your kids?
I have a about to turn 3-year-old and about to turn 1-year-old.
Oh, very small. Yes.
So and they're I wish they were a little bit further apart because it's challenging.
Yeah. There you go. That's close.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be fun though as they get older. Mine are 6 and almost 9.
Okay, cool. So you're in a different crazy stage.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're becoming like people at this point, you know? So that's interesting to navigate. But yes, Les, I was just with my sister has 4 kids and her youngest is 1.5. And I said, oh yeah, I forgot about how hard this stage is. So
Regardless,
anyway.
it was fun. My 3-year-old just loved being in the pool, so just you give him a house, the pool, he's good.
Yeah, the water really keeps them entertained. Speaking of which, apologies if it's loud here. Picked a great first day to kick off, and we have some large trees getting trimmed outside, or getting completely cut down outside. So
I can't hear anything, so.
yeah, it does a pretty good job.
Where are you?
I'm sorry?
Where in Orange County are you?
I live in San Clemente.
Yeah, I'm from Orange County originally, so.
Okay, and you're in LA?
Yeah, I'm in LA. I'm up by, I always say Culver City, but it's theoretically the Narrows. So it's
Okay.
right where the 90 and the 405 freeways meet.
Mm-hmm.
Literally right there.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, we moved down to Orange County about 4 years ago. We lived in the South Bay for 15 years, and prior to that, I actually lived in kind of Culver City area myself, actually, for a couple of years. So, yeah. Well, it's really good to meet you. Thanks for getting us some time.
No, of course. I'm excited to meet you. I think this will probably be one of many calls probably this week and the coming weeks. I'm sure you have a lot scheduled with myself and probably Theron also. I'm guessing you're pretty a lot close to it.
Yes, I have some time with him today, and then we'll be working closely together. Yes, so I did quite a bit of onboarding last week. I had a couple calls with Darren, and I also connected with Nicole. So just kind of getting lay of the land a little bit. And I have this week, just kind of so you know, I have calls with kind of all of the major, I don't know if you use the term like department leaders, but all of the major leaders. And everything's a little different, so forgive me in advance. I'll be getting to know all of the nomenclature and the roster versus an org chart and all of these things. But anyway, yeah. So
Similar to mine, where you come from, it's quite a change. So it's gonna be a little bit of time to catch up to all that.
yes, and Darren kind of did a little bit of an overview for me of everyone, but if you wouldn't mind, I'd love just kind of like a little bit of background, how long you've been here, where you were before, and then we can kind of get into Vendo specific.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been here for just over a year now, so I'm still fairly new as it comes to the leadership team at Vendo. Most of the people have been here a lot longer than I have. I was brought on last year. It was a long time in the works.
Okay.
I'm sure your role didn't have a job posting. I'm I'm sure it came through a connection at Vendo or through platform into Vendo or something like that, which is very similar process to what I came here with. My background is 15 years ago, I was a small business owner. My background's not in anything related to marketing or digital. I'm an architect.
Okay.
And as a side hobby, just started a diesel shop myself. Did okay. Managed to do when the subscription was going. Got to about 70,000 monthly active subscribers, and at one point managed, or not one, but then eventually managed to exit that. And the agency that I was working with for the majority of that time was, I'm sure you've heard of them, Six.
Yeah.
So after we got acquired, I was very close to the founder, Steve, and Steve was like, look, I don't know what your role is, but we're growing, and we can use people that have the business experience that you have rather than the agency experience. So I came on and I was one of the people that started what we call client success there.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the same at every other agency. It's definitely not the same at Vendo as what I had at V6, but when I was originally hired there, it was more of a strategy role with clients. Meaning they had a lot of clients. They were a new agency at the time. Probably only had about 50 clients, but the issue they were having is they were scaling quickly, and they were having the biggest hurdle they had was they were scaling quickly and the quality of service was going down. Because of that, I was employee probably number 100. By the time I left, we were at about 450. And so just pretty consistent struggles as we scale, right?
Yeah.
Quality of service goes down. Account managers are managing 15 accounts rather than 7 accounts, that whole thing. And so my role was to really work with clients, make sure we got a better understanding of what their needs were, not only from an advertising point of view, but from a business point of view, right? Like how we can help their P&L, how we can help their cash flow, how we could help their basically business ops run a little bit more smoothly. Building that relationship with them to, what we always use the term is, make ourselves more sticky with them, to really be a part of their business. And number one goal is to help leadership, ultimately. And so I kind of built that, me and one other person, we built that team out. He eventually left, and so there I manage a team of 28 client success managers, well, a combination of client success managers, project managers, and business officers underneath me also.
Okay.
So had a 28-person team. Eventually, we sold to Dentsu at V6.
Yeah.
I was retained, but they did a pretty major reorg and restructure. So we're in the Dentsu umbrella for about 2 years. Was a part of that ELT, executive leadership team at V6 with Dentsu. And then after 2 years, it was just kind of had enough of the corporate Dentsu world, and it was time to make a move.
Yeah, absolutely. 1 second. Sorry. Okay. Yes, very familiar with obviously with Dentsu, but with Mute6 and their growth and they're in an interesting spot now.
So I know the full story, and the people that now run Mute6 are basically the COO of Lunar Solar Group is the person I started client success with at Mute6. His name is Jesse, and so him and I are still very close, and so I know the story from both sides now. It's interesting.
I bet that'll have to be a over coffee or drink conversation for sure. Yeah, I'd love to hear your point of view there. Okay, well that's great. It's nice to have, like I said, I'm very familiar, so it's nice to have somebody with that background. Obviously, I come from. I don't know if are you familiar with WPromote?
They're good. They're getting your background a little bit
Okay.
also, so understand that I think we come from a very similar world of mainly search and social.
Yeah. Well, we certainly search and social. We're certainly the largest, and I'm switching from they and we and now here. So again, but we're certainly the largest drivers, and that's where we really started. But obviously, we expanded significantly from there. But yeah, that was definitely the initial core and from a media offering. So and yeah, just the structure of client success, and we had a very you know, actual like Holdco, similar structure of client services teams that sat over all of the channels and all of that. So good to understand your background and familiarity there.
Yeah, and at that note, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
In my role, we never had, we didn't have that account manager role at V6.
Yeah.
Our channel leads, you know, their social, those the leads of that team, they were in direct contact with clients, and they were the ones that were acting as managers, and then client success was sitting on top of every account, managing the various channels as well. Here, it's a little bit different, right? We have account managers on Amazon that manage the various sub-channels within Amazon, and so there's not so much of a need for client success to sit on top of every account as we did at my last role because of that account manager role. So it's still, you know, a year later, it's still a work in progress in the sense that I'm still very much involved with all the new accounts that we onboard. But I'm not as much into the data and strategy as I was at my old position.
So tell me a little bit about like how the teams are structured from your point of view. Obviously, I'll dig in with all the individuals, and then how your role sits on top, and then just kind of what functions you're supporting.
Yeah, so I'm working with every account that we onboarded right now outside of the Walmart service. So TikTok Shop, Amazon, and then when we onboard certain social clients or any other paid media or social media or any of that, I'm very involved in all of those new client signings. Walmart is still a little bit different, because I live in Arkansas, and it's a completely just different offering right now. That being said, I'm revamping all of our process right now. Like I've changed all of our onboarding processes for the channels that I just mentioned.
Okay.
Walmart's the one outlier right now, and so now I'm working closely with Walmart to really figure out a way to make that more cohesive with our standard operating procedures. I've built out SOPs for everything related to stuff that I can show you eventually. I've built out a way for us to, you know, use a scorecard to make sure that we're managing client happiness or what their sentiment looks like. Built out, I'm working super closely with our finance teams, and I've built out a way for us to better track invoicing, billing, understand when clients are starting, stopping, why they're coming, why they're leaving, why they're unhappy, whatever it may be. I had become here that was never formalized.
Okay.
And so these are all processes, you know, I feel like rather my role right now is very 50-50 client success, client facing, but I've also been working very closely on the ops side to build out better procedures and protocols internally so we can better track what our relationship with our client and how that's at that goal.
Okay. Fantastic.
But yeah, the last piece of this is the Walmart side, and it's the one part of the business that I think, well, not the one part of the business, it's the one outlier currently. But one of the common feedback that I get from clients is, especially when we're working with multiple services that Vendo offers, right? Majority of our clients come in and they're only running Amazon, we're only running Walmart. But as we grow as an agency, we're signing more clients that are multi-service, right? Bigger deals and bigger service offerings. And I come from a world in which, hey, when we had a big client, it was like all hands on deck. We had a weekly call, everybody was involved. We put a strategy in place for that call. We all reviewed it. We sent that deck over to the client for them to review, and those calls were more strategy focused. Versus at Vendo, if they're running with us on Amazon, Walmart, and TikTok Shop, they are 3 completely separate channels. They're doing 3 separate calls, and as much as we want them to communicate internally, even though that's not happening, and so there's a huge silo, right, between service offerings, and that's a gap I'm very much trying to bridge right now.
Okay.
Without putting extra work internally, you know, more calls on everybody's calendar. I don't want to do that. I want to put more work on people's plates, but one of the things that I'm noticing on the client service side is that our service for those bigger clients, I think is subpar compared to what I need to do in the sense that we're not exactly easy.
Okay. That's good. Sorry, just taking all this down.
I apologize, I know.
No, it's great, it's great.
The nomenclature and
No, this is all,
probably still a little.
no, this is all, I mean, the only thing that's new to me is, well, we're not specifically with Vendo in the original space, but, the Walmart's new, but obviously everything outside of that is, consistent.
Amazon's offering at least look like.
Really really small. Really small,
They'll probably
yeah.
more focus on the advertising part of it, right?
Yes, yeah.
And so that was a big difference for me, a big change for me coming into Vendo, because I was like, oh my god. When we have a big Amazon account, yeah, there's 10 people working for that account, it's not just one, which is what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
So that part was, that was a big shift for me and a big learning curve for me.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, this is great. So I think, I mean, I could just have you talk probably for a couple hours and bring me up to speed, but I think what I'll want to do is, it seems like, so let me kind of repeat back and make sure I'm understanding. So, onboarding and just like kind of your core areas, onboarding, it looks like you're handling like retention and churn analysis and just planning and improvement. And then what does your touch point, if anything, look like beyond onboarding with clients?
Yeah. So let me walk you through like what hit the new client sites today and how that looks.
Okay.
So one more part that I wanted to bring your attention is I handle all of our contracting also.
Okay, yes. I had that on my list to make sure I got access from you to PandaDoc.
Yep, as long as I'm sure, I don't know why you would, but I'll get Derek's approval. I have to
Sure.
add you as a team member, so you have to approve the additional fee.
Okay, yeah, and you know what, if you can just add me as a collaborator or something for now,
So that the second you sign on, you have to get me,
okay,
which I think is totally fine, you should be.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't anticipate I'll be needing
It's
to.
not $10,000, it's like $500 a week.
Yeah, we use PandaDoc as well. Yeah, I guess that's true. You can't just be. Yeah, I guess if that's the only way I'll be able to see all of our templates and structure and everything.
Yeah.
So, I don't anticipate.
But this was a big one that I had to get there and sign off on, because he was very hesitant. He didn't like our salespeople writing invoice or writing contracts, which that's the opposite of around. We still have our salespeople write their own contracts.
Mhm.
Like that was something that he held very close to his chest, and he was literally copy pasting various Word documents to create contracts. It was super inefficient. It was taking us like days to get contracts. I was like, yeah, dude, we gotta. There's a million solutions for this. Let's just.
Absolutely, yeah.
So he finally, after like 6 months, gave me the green light. So I implemented PandaDoc. I am now the sole person that writes all of our agreements in PandaDoc. So I'll show you. I can get you access. I'll show you all. You're familiar with PandaDoc, so it's not a big list, but creating all the templates and all that. So anyways, I'm the one that writes all the contracts. After I get the details from the sales team, after I write the contract, it goes to Darren for approval. He approves it, then I send it to the client. After a contract is signed, typically have the salesperson do a simple reply, adding in, nice to meet you, or sorry, thank you for getting it done. Please meet Noel, who's going to be taking over onboarding the next steps with your. We have a template that I wrote. And then I have various templates for the services that I can basically, welcome to Vendo. I'll be working closely with X, Y, and Z teammates over the next couple of weeks to get you onboarded. Here's a list of action items that we need prior to us kicking things off and having our first onboarding call together, so we can actually get it. So once we onboard, I start that onboarding call. I run that call with the help of whoever the team lead is for that service that we are onboarding. Again, if we have multiple services that we're onboarding, like TikTok Shop and Amazon, we're onboarding calls. Not the most efficient use of time, but that's how Darren wants it right now. And so we're doing multiple onboarding calls, so one for each service. And I understand why on the Amazon side, because that Amazon onboarding call takes a full. there's a lot to review on that Amazon call, but again, I think that we can maybe better utilize our time on that. And then, once we onboard, I have my own system where I put stuff on my calendar where I do a 2-week check-in and an 8-week check-in with the client.
Okay.
With that being said, I've also invited all of our clients to help with that moving forward. Right now, there's only one of me, so I join as many of those bi-weekly calls as I can. But, again, this is for every new client that we've onboarded, and so I have 80 client calls on my calendar for the week, and so
Yeah.
I kind of pick and choose. Delaney and I, who are Amazon, director of Amazon, for VP of Amazon now, we touch base every Monday, we plan our week accordingly, we review that tracker that I built up that kind of shows client health. And the two of us kind of divide and conquer in the sense that, like, we'll identify 10 to 15 clients that need some additional support, and the two of us will kind of join those calls every week.
Okay.
And that's outside of my, again, 2-week check-in and 8-week check-in with the client. And then for higher touch clients, ones that are, again, multi-service, are tier 1 and above clients, I pretty routinely, once I have that initial check-in with them, I usually put something on with them to do a monthly one-on-one check-in.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, again, I know a lot.
No, it's
Like you
fine.
said, I can talk for hours about this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
sorry,
I'm
one second.
just trying to let you digest as much as possible.
Yeah.